Customization is important to me, as you guys can probably already tell. I love building and modding PCs. To me, it's a form of art. I have to have all of my builds matching, and the most important component in any build are the cables, which a lot of people disregard. This is why I went with Cable Mod. Not only do they offer full power supply cables and extensions, but you can also customize each one of the cables to your liking. Simply pick the type of cable you want, the power supply that you are using, and the model. Then you have the option of selecting the cables and the sizes that you need, and the final page will give you options in selecting the colors and the color pattern. The customization is seriously next level. They even have custom sleeved power and Ethernet cables. I mean, that's pretty crazy. So if you're building your next PC, or maybe you're stuck with the same stock PSU cables, then you guys should definitely check out Cable Mod, and I'll drop a link to them down below. Now then, let's take a closer look at Titania. A 6900K 8-core processor that's overclocked to 4.3 GHz, 64 gigs of RAM from a Vixer running at 2666 MHz, and not one but two NVIDIA GTX Titan X's in SLI. Overkill would be an understatement. Even the motherboard is unnecessary. I'm using the Asus Rampage 5 Edition 10 that's packed with all the bells and whistles you would expect from any single motherboard. The Corsair HX1000i is powering this entire build, and everything is packed inside the new Deepcool Genome ROG Edition mid-tower chassis. It comes with its very own 360mm CPU cooler, which happens to be RGB as well. In fact, you get a remote which lets you change the colors of the front reservoir, the water block, LED strips, and even ROG logo near the bottom. The front reservoir really doesn't do anything, and its main purpose is for purely aesthetics. But the Deepcool did leave some extra space near the back for those who want a custom loop solution. It can fit up to a 240mm radiator. Speaking of aesthetics, I picked up two custom GPU backplates from V1 Tech to spice up the build. I'm sure you guys have heard of them at this point because I use them pretty much in all of my ultimate builds. They just do some really amazing work on their backplates. So if you guys want to pimp your PC, make sure to check them out at V1 Tech or click on the link below. So in my build, I decided to go with the traditional horizontal orientation for the graphics cards since I was going SLI. But for anyone that is going with a single GPU, you would be pleased to find out that they offer a vertical orientation as well with the included PCI extension cable. As far as storage is concerned, you do have space for 2 hard drives and 2 SSDs, but since this is a temporary monthly PC build on the channel, I decided to go with just 2 480GB SSDs from Kingston, obviously in RAID 0. Now if this is for my own personal rig, I would obviously put in an M.2 and maybe a few hard drives. I also love how easy cable management was. There was plenty of space between the power supply and hard drive cage to store some excess cables in. I just feel like Deepcool really put some thought into the Genome series when it comes to cable management. And finally, for connectivity, we have 2 USB 3.0 ports in the front along with the usual audio jacks. Overall, I'm very satisfied with the case. In fact, I might take apart this build and put together a nice black and red version of this just for me to use as my main PC. Alright, so how the hell does this PC perform? Well, I'm happy to announce that this will run Minesweeper over 60 FPS. All jokes aside, let's talk overclocking first. So I pushed the 6900K to 4.3 GHz at 1.35 volts, and things got pretty heated. Idle temps around 34 degrees, while on full load they jumped to 85 degrees, and at first I thought I might have messed up on the thermal paste, so I reapplied them just to be on the safe side, and nope, still the same. It's a bit on the hot side, but the PC is stable after a 12-hour Prime 95 benchmark, so yeah, I'm just gonna leave it here. I also overclocked both of my Titan X's, and I was surprised I was able to push them this far. An extra 200 MHz on the core clock and 400 MHz on the memory, which gave a nice boost in performance. There was also a nice boost in fan noise and temperatures, of course, the top GPU seeing temps of up to 90 degrees during full load, while the bottom GPU is a few degrees cooler. Editing a video was extremely fast. Using the same template I used for all my other editing tests, Titania managed to shred through a 30-second 4K video file in just over 2 minutes tops. And just for reference, you guys can see that compared to my other builds. Now, even though they are all budget builds, it's still better than nothing, I suppose. As expected, the PC blew the Firestrike benchmark straight out of water, and it pretty much scored in the 1 percentile of all the PCs. I mean, seriously, what did you expect? So with all that jibber jabber aside, let's take a look at the gaming benchmarks. Now all of these are done in 4K resolution. Let's take a look. So yeah, not much else to say. I feel like the build speaks for itself. It's overkill and it will pretty much dominate any game you throw at it in 4K settings, maxed out. I don't really use the word future-proof a lot since there are always new parts coming out, but you know what? This build will definitely last you at least 5 years. I mean, unless they start making games in 8K resolution, then yeah. As always, if you guys enjoy my monthly PC build, make sure to leave a huge like as it does help the channel out a ton, and you guys can check out all the parts linked down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in the next video.